Coming up on Valley News Live at 6, a West Fargo man gets ripped off while selling his car. How it happened and how the con artist is still on the run. A spike in the number of young people testing positive for COVID-19, plus a young Minnesota man unresponsive and on a ventilator. How COVID-19 is not to blame. Valley News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 6.
Good evening, everyone. A difficult time. That's how the private investigator who worked on the kidnapping of Drew Shadeen describes today after the man charged with her murder may have a new sentencing. The death penalty scrapped in that case. A federal judge has ruled that the constitutional right of Alfonso Rodriguez Jr. was violated due to limited mental health evidence and misleading testimony from a medical examiner. Rodriguez has been on death row for nearly 2 decades for the killing of Shadeen, who was abducted from the Columbia Mall parking lot in Grand Forks. The federal judge has ordered a new sentencing phase be conducted for Rodriguez. Our investigative team has spent the day digging into this case. We'll hear from private investigators tonight on Valley News Live at 9 and 10. A West Fargo man has a warning for anyone selling things online. After selling his car to a woman, he later learned she used a fake check. Valley News team's JC Dodd joins us with more, including how to keep this from happening to you. JC?
That's right, Stacy. A West Fargo man told me that this woman, Amy Murray, used and forged a cashier's check to buy his car. Now, I did some digging, and since 2019, Murray has been convicted of 3 felonies, one of which is forgery, similar to what the West Fargo man says happened to him. Earlier this year, Murray was a person of interest in a Fargo police investigation involving multiple fraudulent checks. In February, she was arrested for an unrelated warrant and convicted of assault and preventing arrest. Now, 6 months later, a man says he is Murray's latest victim.
I should have been a little more cautious, I guess.
Jesse Sackman says he thought the deal was too good to be true. As it turns out, he was right. Just an hour after posting his 2003 Chevy Tahoe for sale on Facebook, he says Amy Murray responded saying she'll take it.
I asked $3,500 and she said, will you take $3,200 and a cashier's check? And I said, that will work.
Sackman says when she came to pick up the SUV on Sunday, she was acting suspicious.
It was very quick. She didn't even drive it, so she just got in and went with it.
He says he glanced over the check and didn't see anything wrong with it. But later that night, he noticed something was off.
Looking a little deeper into it, and that's when I saw the little spelling error there.
On the top right corner of the check, a misspelling, reading Dell Bank instead of Bell Bank. The next day, he went to authorities who confirmed his suspicions.
We went to the police station and they said, no good.
And today he went to the bank, where he was told all he had now was a worthless check, while his Tahoe was long gone.
Keep an eye out for it, I guess, but I would assume she's nowhere around here anymore.
I spoke with West Fargo Sergeant Tim Runcorn, who says he couldn't give me any information since the case is under investigation. However, he was able to give me some tips on how to prevent this from happening to others. First, he says for cashier checks or counterfeit money, if it feels wrong and looks wrong, it's probably fake. And with dealing with transactions like Saxman's, he says pay close attention to the details of the check. In this case, Dell instead of Bell, a dash instead of a comma, and this stamp should be a signature. And any typos or anything like that, it would signal that it's out of place and probably incorrect. He says the best thing you can do is call the bank to verify the check's validity before parting with your items. Stacy?
All right, thanks so much, JC. And in cases like this, police say they hope to find the items or the suspect and get the items back to the victim. Now here's Hutch with the first look at your forecast. Hutch?
Good evening, Stacy. Hello, everyone. As we head into the brunt of our work week now after the Labor Day holiday, we've had a cooler day. It's been windy, and now we have a few passing showers that are producing some rumbles of thunder and brief periods of rain. Here's Grand Forks off to the east. We have most of the shower activity in northwest Minnesota. Taking a look at that radar, we do see that they're very rapidly moving in the northwest flow from northwest to southeast. Quite a bit of lightning north of Brainerd and east of Fergus Falls right now, heading in toward the Wadena area. Detroit Lakes, a shower just going to pass to your north and to your east right now, heading into the southern parts of Becker County at this hour as we take a look at this long line of showers that extends from Bagley through Fosston and eastern Polk County through the Red Lake area and just off into western Marshall County. A little bit of lightning moving over the Argyle area as we speak as well. These are moving fairly quickly, so don't expect more than just a few hundredths in your rain gauge. And notice this, quiet in Fargo with rapidly falling temperatures into the overnight. We're on our way into the 50s, and for some of our northern counties it looks like 50s, but a few could be in the 40s. Our thunderstorm chances will end with the setting sun. I'll have hour-by-hour details, Stacy, as we come up here in just a little bit about what you can expect for the rest of your work week in a few minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Hutch. A Fargo woman accused of killing a toddler last year changed her plea today. 37-year-old Brandy Adeliki pled guilty to murder and child abuse in the death of 15-month-old Mika. Court documents say she gave Mika a bath while she was under her care, but left her alone. The child went underwater for an unknown amount of time. She allegedly admitted to pinching and slapping Mika's face to try and wake her up. Adeliki is being held in the Cass County Jail on a $1 million bond. COVID-19 is getting younger. Data from the health department shows the average age of hospitalizations is younger and the proportion of young people getting sick is growing. At the beginning of the last school year, there were fewer than 400 cases of COVID-19 among kids ages 0 to 19. This year, it's already more than 600. 28% of North Dakota's active cases are among children aged 0 to 19. The largest age group continues to be 20 to 49, which makes up nearly half of all active cases. State health leaders say there's still a lot of transmission in North Dakota and cases are still growing. That's why many are pushing prevention with the vaccine over treatment with antibodies.
That's the best thing that a person can do to protect themselves. You know, the monoclonal antibodies are great, but it's kind of like figuring out which fire department to call rather than preventing fires in the first place.
Upwards of 36% of active cases have been among kids over the past few months, and that's a trend doctors didn't see last year. COVID has mutated multiple times since the start of the pandemic. Experts say this has to do with the type of virus it is. The virus that causes COVID-19 is an RNA virus, which is more susceptible to mutating than DNA viruses are.
That when a DNA strand replicates or duplicates, there's a proofreading mechanism where the two daughter strands are identical to the original strand. The deal, however, with RNA viruses is that proofreading mechanism doesn't exist.
Dr. Mateo went on to say he expects the virus will continue to mutate often. That's because until people are able to be vaccinated and the rate of the spread of the virus can be slowed, it will continue to replicate, which inevitably will lead to mutations. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz announced today more than 3,000 fairgoers were vaccinated for COVID-19. In total, more than 3,000 people received a free vaccine at the community vaccination clinic. Most of them claimed a $100 Visa gift card for getting their first dose. A young Minnesota man remains on a ventilator and unresponsive tonight after being diagnosed with a severe case of West Nile virus late last week. Doctors at Sanford Health are continuing to monitor 24-year-old Dryden Thompson's brain swelling and seizure activity. But today brought some good news for the family as he responded for the first time to nurses' commands.
He opened his eyes for a little bit, squeezed the hand of the nurse, wiggled his toes. So we're getting there. Little by little, there's little news, good news.
You can stay up to date with Dryden's journey on his Caring Bridge page. There's also a GoFundMe set up for his growing medical bills. You can find links to both of those pages by heading to our VNL News app and clicking on this story. Later on Valley News Live at 6, a down year for the Minnesota State Fair. Was weather to blame or concerns over COVID-19?
And today, the air was in quite a hurry with gusts between 35 and 45 miles per hour across central and eastern North Dakota. A lot of 30-plus mile-per-hour gusts in Lakes Country. Temperatures today not too bad. We cool off tomorrow. We'll track those thunder showers in our area. Coming up, join me. Weather is next.